Zechariah 9, 9 to 10, parallels Revelation 17. There are around 16 reasons as to why this discussion paper will confirm a biblical reality of historical events and end-time events, and therefore is not wise to disregard, walk away, let alone to shrug and believe if not. For those Summa Theological pundits like Rabbi Tovia Singer, the following details present a series of biblical realities in respect to Zechariah 9. The Bible designates a listing of events how the royal scepter found its integrity within the royal lineages of Britain. Some readers, to their own humiliation, will cease interest with Zechariah 9, 9 to 10 at this point. Regardless, notice the reference by Zechariah to Ephraim. Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. Behold, thy king cometh unto thee. He is just and having salvation, lowly and riding upon an ass, and upon a colt the foal of an ass. And I will cut off the chariot from Ephraim, and the horse from Jerusalem, and the battle bow shall be cut off, and he shall speak peace unto the heathen. And his dominion shall be from sea even to sea, and from the river even to the ends of the earth. Who is Ephraim? What exactly is Ephraim's association to Revelation 17? Yet many questions exist about the two birthright nations, Ephraim and Manasseh. This will require answers, and it will be shown they relate to end prophetic events of Zechariah 9 that include Daniel 11:40-45, Revelation 17, and Revelation 13. Fact is, the Bible presents the following data. Two kingly lines, Zerah and Perez, they're in Genesis 38, and fact is, one became prominent and the other was virtually invisible, with no known activity in Palestine. The end of the Perez line would spell the end of God's promise to David, that David would never lack a man on the throne. Jeremiah's commission to uproot and replant, Jeremiah 1:4-10. This was to be done on a high mountain in the house of Israel, Ezekiel 20:40. Daughters of Zedekiah among Jeremiah's remnant. See the link here. Birthright was given to Ephraim and Manasseh in Egypt, Genesis 48, not Judah. Birthright implies national greatness up to the fulfillment of Luke 21:24, when they, that is, both birthright nations, would begin to diminish. The Greek synarchy in Luke 21 conveys that the nations would be in the straits, economic difficulty. There is the reference in Ezekiel 21:26 of removing the turban from the evil king and placing it on another who was low and abased and will now be lifted up. Descendants of the birthrights would be 1. Commonwealth of nations, as well as B. A great single nation. A 25-20-year prophecy, 7 times, of the blessing being withheld, would ultimately manifest in the house of Israel in the year 1800, just in time for 12:03 current call on the parabolic time clock, the noontime of the everlasting gospel and noontime of Luke 21:24. The promotion of an Israelite book by way of the two greatest nations on the face of the earth. A reverting back to Egypt, thus fulfilling the role of their mother in the post-time frame of the blessing of Jacob, Luke 21:24. Joseph was married to the priestess daughter of Pontiphera, Genesis 41, 45 and 50. When Shiloh arrived, the Zara line was no longer important, since Jesus completes the promise of God given to David. Yet this didn't eliminate the continuance of the kingly line of Zerah. The prophecy stated that the scepter would not depart from Judah up to the arrival of Shiloh, Genesis 49:10, the Messiah whose right it is. This point is interesting since the arrival of Shiloh, the scepter departed from Judah, meaning not presently in Judah's territory, but present in another land, and was given over to Ephraim, as depicted in Zechariah 9. The book of James, chapter 1, verse 1 states the 12 tribes were in dispersion. David's throne planted in the sea, Psalms 89:20 and 25. Zechariah 9:10, and I will cut off the chariot from Ephraim, and the horse from Jerusalem, and the battle bow shall be cut off, and he shall speak peace unto the heathen, and his dominion shall be from sea even to sea, and from the river even to the ends of the earth. A certain rabbinic scholar, Tovia Singer, tries to refute Christians by stating that Christians cannot explain Zechariah 9:10. What he forgot to say is not all Christians. Some can explain it. The flow of history in Zechariah 9:9-10 presents the arrival of Shiloh, whose right it is, and we know this to be Jesus Christ, Yeshua, Messiah. This prophecy marked the time of his arrival, and the people were praising him when he rode into Jerusalem on a donkey, as revealed in the prophecy. Later we can see the scepter, while remaining in Judah through the Zara line, departed from its home base in Palestine over to the tribe of Ephraim, which was in contact with the Zara line of kingship, son of Judah. The prophecy clearly states that the war horses of Ephraim will be in the vicinity of Jerusalem, and also in Jerusalem at the end of the age. This is seen in Daniel 11:40-45. And at the time of the end shall the king of the south contend with him, and the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind, with chariots and with horsemen and with many ships, and he shall enter into the countries, and shall overflow and pass through. He shall enter also into the glorious land, and many countries shall be overthrown, but these shall be delivered out of his hand, Edom and Moab, and the chief of the children of Ammon. He shall stretch forth his hand also upon the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape. But he shall have power over the treasures of gold and of silver, and over all the precious things of Egypt. And the Libyans and the Ethiopians shall be at his steps. But tidings out of the east and out of the north shall trouble him, and he shall go forth with great fury to destroy and utterly to sweep away many. And he shall plant the tents of his palace between the sea and the glorious holy mountain, yet he shall come to his end, and none shall help him. Daniel 11:40-45 is the upcoming scenario for Zechariah 9's war horses of Ephraim in Jerusalem that will be removed by the eighth king, which in Revelation 13 renders Ephraim the seventh king of Revelation 17 with a deadly wound. History reveals that at the very end of the age, the upcoming Messiah ben Ephraim will be placed in Jerusalem as its reigning king, as declared in Balfour Declaration. Yes, in that invisible small print, not available to the public. Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion, shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. Behold, thy king cometh unto thee. He is just and having salvation, lowly and riding upon an ass, even upon a colt, the foal of an ass. And I will cut off the chariot from Ephraim, and the horse from Jerusalem, and the battle bow shall be cut off. And he shall speak peace unto the nations, and his dominion shall be from sea to sea, and from the river to the ends of the earth. The cutting off, Zechariah 9-10, equals the fatal wound, Revelation 13:3. And he stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast coming up out of the sea, having 10 horns and 7 heads, and on his horns 10 diadems, and upon his heads names of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his throne and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it were thought it had been smitten unto death, and his death stroke was healed, and the whole earth wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon, because he gave his authority unto the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast, and who is able to make war with him? Revelation 17:10, and there they are 7 kings, the 5 are fallen, the one is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a little while. This cutting off implies that the 7th Holy Roman Emperor, which will be referred to as the great monarch here and here, who will be removed by the 8th king, which Revelation 17:11 refers to as the beast. These are 7 kings, and 5 are fallen. The other is not yet come, and when he cometh, he must continue a short space. The continuation of a short space is the effectiveness of the deadly wound. Shall be cut off. The 8th king is defined as follows. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. The 8th king speaks peace to the nations in Zechariah 9:10. And I will cut off the chariot from Ephraim, and the horse from Jerusalem, and the battle bow shall be cut off, and he shall speak peace unto the nations, and his dominion shall be from sea to sea, and from the river to the ends of the earth. 13:8 of Revelation. And all that dwell on the earth shall worship him, every one whose name hath not been written from the foundation of the world in the book of life of the Lamb that hath been slain. Some will claim that Zechariah 9:10 statement of the rulership from sea to sea and to the ends of the earth is in reference to Jesus. It is not. Since the Bible tells us in 1 Thessalonians that when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. So what is this sudden destruction? Revelation 19. And I saw the heaven opened, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat thereon called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. And his eyes are a flame of fire, and upon his head are many diadems, and he hath a name written which no man knoweth but he himself, and he is arrayed in a garment sprinkled with blood, and his name is called Word of God. And the armies which are in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and pure. And out of his mouth proceedeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he shall roll them with a rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness of the wrath of God the Almighty. And he hath on his garment and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. The twisting of Daniel 9:24-26. How will the 70 weeks prophecy of Daniel 9 be twisted to accommodate a false Messiah? Well, Revelation 17:10's latter part states that the 7th king's arrival on the scene will be brief. When he is cut off, as revealed in Daniel 11:45, note the expression, his palatial tents, between the seas and the glorious holy mountain, he comes to his end. Zechariah 9:10 also states that the war horses of Ephraim will be cut off. And this is also applied in Revelation 13's fatal wound. Of one of the heads of the beast, which would be the 7th. When this great defender of Israel and Jerusalem, last great Roman emperor, is cut down, it will be stated and widely claimed that he, the 7th king, fulfilled Daniel 9's 70-week prophecy. And after 62 weeks shall the anointed one be cut off, and shall have nothing, and the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with the flood, and even unto the end shall be war, desolations are determined. Don't believe it? For a more in-depth understanding, see our video on the 70 weeks of Daniel 9. last great Roman emperor. See the link here. This link clearly reveals the information in Revelation 17:10's latter part. He must continue a short space. And then comes the introduction of the Antichrist, which Revelation 17 depicts as the eighth king. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the eighth, and is of the seven, and goeth into perdition. Conclusion: what cannot be explained are some of the external claims of the British Israelites in reference to proof outside of the Bible. Scholars are not prone to receiving what they would call mythological lore. Yet the British Israelites do have many historical sources in relation to the whereabouts of lost Israel and their research regarding the Zara line and its etymological evidence and physical presence in Spain in the form of the town of Zaragoza should not be dismissed. Considering that Spain has a very intimate relationship with the Iberians, who are perceived by many as being Israelites. See Iberians, Eber, Ebrios. If the Bible tells us that the kingly line of David would experience a transference, then that is all that is needed. Britain has this genealogy in its possession, and in time will reveal the matter, since the Balfour Declaration only gives the right to a British sovereign who will be a descendant of David. Summary: yes, indeed, Zechariah 9 is related to Revelation 17's short space, Daniel 11:40-5, and none shall help him. Zechariah 9:10 isolates the seventh king, Ephraim, will be cut off. Zechariah 9:10 characterizes the seventh king of Daniel 11:45. Revelation 17:10 recognizes the seventh king who reigns a short space. Revelation 17:11 pinpoints the eighth king who is of the seven. Revelation 13 confirms the deadly wound of the seventh king. Daniel 11:40-45 refers to the seventh king cut off, and none shall help him. Zechariah 9:10 confirms eighth king speaks peace to the nations. First piece of Revelation 13 equals eighth king. Revelation 17:11 and Zechariah 9:10.